Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, everybody. I am your host today, and most days, 4 days a week, Ray Flowers. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I host the show here with you all. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great New Year's Eve, by the way. New Year's Day. Did you watch Stranger Things? Did you play the game that my significant other did, where you binged all the shows here the last couple of days? Yeah, we actually did that. Did you celebrate New Year's Eve? Did you wake up till 12 o'clock with the ball dropping? Maybe, maybe not. Did you even celebrate yesterday? Did you watch the Rose Parade? Did you watch any of the college football games? Did you do any of that stuff that we normally do or did you just say, oh, it's just another day, Ray, who the hell cares? I just got time off and I went and cuddled my dog. I don't know what it might be, but hopefully whatever you did, you had a good time doing it. Hopefully you were safe. Hopefully this is not your first day out of jail. Hopefully you didn't do something inappropriate, but thanks for joining me here today on the show. Again, I'm Ray Flowers. I'm with you Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Justin Fensterman is with you on Wednesdays. Monday through Friday at about 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We go about an hour each day. We'll get right back on that normal schedule starting next week. Obviously, the show on Sirius XM has been in a little bit of up and down, too, because of the end of the year. That show with Jeff Mans, which is 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 1 hour after this show. So we're 12 to 1 Monday through Friday. Jeff is 2 to 5 Monday through Friday, all those times Eastern Standard. On Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. His show is back on today. I'm normally over there on Sirius with Jeff on Wednesdays, which is why I'm not here. Henry says, by the way, he was stayed up, watched Stranger Things and college football. Henry, way to go, Henry. College football. I didn't do college football. I did do the Stranger Things thing. Angela said he was in bed by 11. Oh, Angela, come on. Well, there you go. Angela says this week is 15 months alcohol free for me. Congratulations. That's a very impressive thing, Angela. Congrats on that and your sobriety. And you said now you can pay your student loans off. Yeah, that's an important thing to do. And it's unfortunate there's a scenario where college is so expensive. But this is not a political show, so we won't deal with that here. But congratulations on your sobriety, Angelo. Congratulations on that. And as you can see, as we're already doing here on the show, there are multiple ways you can watch the show, listen to the show. 3 of the ways if you're watching the show live. And again, you can watch it. Don't just have to listen. Maybe you don't want to see my face. That's fine. But if you're actually watching the show live, there's 3 ways. YouTube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork. Twitter X @FantasyGuru site, Facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ. Any of those 3 places that you're watching live, you can always watch on demand too. Excuse me. But if you're watching live in any of those 3 places, you can leave comments and questions that we can discuss throughout the show, as we just did there with Angelo and Henry. Let's throw up on the screen what we're talking about here today. We're going to go through and talk some Week 18. I know some of you are not even playing fantasy football anymore. Some of you don't care about fantasy football anymore. Some of you say Week 18 is the dumbest thing ever. Some of you may only be playing the betting game in Week 18. Some of you may only be playing the DFS game in Week 18. By the way, whatever angle you want to play it, we've got you covered over at FantasyGuru.com. We've dropped the price yet again. It's $29.99 the rest of the way. So that includes all of our football coverage, which is college coverage and NFL, seasonal DFS and wagering, all of it throughout the playoffs. The only thing you don't get, is the Super Bowl betting guide. That's always been the one separate thing we sell for football. But for $29.99 the rest of the way, you get action every single week the rest of the way for DFS, seasonal, and betting. So that means we give you rankings each week. We still do that, yeah, including this week. We're still doing rankings. You get access to all the Discord rooms. You get access to all the staff to ask questions, Dynasty questions, seasonal questions, DFS questions, betting questions. You get the advice. You get the articles, the live streams, all of it, $29.99 the rest of the way. Send an email to support@fantasyguru.com or click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. So to help you kind of get prepped for Week 18, whatever format you're playing, we're going to go through. I'll at least go through for the next 25 or so minutes. Playing time issues, health issues. What are we hearing? Reports. Remember, it's still Friday morning, so Friday's really, especially this late in the year. Friday is really the day that matters most when it comes to injury reports. So just keep that in mind. Russell Clay will join us in about 25 minutes. We'll talk to him. Do teams really care about playoff seeding? Like, do the Bills really care? Do the Packers really care? We'll talk to him about that. We'll talk about keys to victory for the 4 teams in those 2 play-in games in essence. The Ravens, the Steelers, the Bucs and the Panthers. We'll ask them what are the keys to win for each of those teams. We'll go through the situations under center for both the Eagles and the Packers, new guys, anything to see with Tune or McKee. We'll talk to him about the New Orleans Saints offense with Chris Olave being out. He had a blood clot if you didn't see that, so they're going to shut him down. Should be okay, but he's not going to play this week. And then some tight end questions in Dynasty formats. So we'll discuss a bunch of things with Russell Clay here. He joins us every Friday at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time in about 25 or so minutes. All right, let's get into it here. Again, Friday, make sure you stick with us at fantasyguru.com. Make sure you listen to Jeff Mann's show. Make sure you're in Discord and all that kind of stuff, asking questions, all that kind of stuff. Because it's still very early in the week, even though people were trying to set lineups on Tuesday and Wednesday this week. I get it, but I know. Remember, there are 2 games this week, Carolina and Tampa Bay, and then the Seattle-San Francisco games that play on Saturday. Everyone else is on Sunday. No Thursday night football, obviously, this week. No Monday night football this week. The 2 games on Saturday and all the games on Sunday. So it should help us set our lineups at least a little bit more clearly this weekend, provided, of course, we can get the information we need. Starting out with the Chargers situation. Omarion Hampton's got an ankle injury. He hasn't practiced the last 2 days. The Chargers have already made the decision to sit Justin Herbert this week because he's all kinds of beat up from the course of the season. Seems, if you're reading the tea leaves, right? Ooh, that's it pain in my hip here. Ooh, hold on a second. That really hurts. Wow. Seems like if you're reading between the tea leaves here, the situation is such that Omarion Hampton, that really hurt. Wow. I had that nerve pain yesterday in my hip for the first time. I've never had this before. Having it again right now. Ooh, ouch. Omarion Hampton's got the ankle injury. Sorry, I'm repeating myself. I'm trying to play through the pain here. Ooh, that hurt. And I am standing up, so that shouldn't be an issue. But hit me yesterday too. Ouch. Jim Harbaugh said that we're going to rest to make sure our guys are good, and it looks like they're probably going to do that with Omarion Hampton. That position is strengthened by the fact that Kimani Vidal, who's got the neck injury, was upgraded to a full participant in practice yesterday. Hassan Haskins has got a concussion. He remains limited. So we might be looking at Vidal leading the way with Jared Patterson as the backup this week. That seems to be the way we're going. I would anticipate the Chargers giving us clarity today on this situation. So let's keep an eye on all of that here. When these teams, and again, we'll talk to Russell Clay about this in a bit, when the team starts shutting things down like this in preparation for the playoffs, like it makes sense that Kimani Vidal be the guy. He was the guy when Hampton was down after, that whole situation played out, and he's been very effective. Vidal's been dealing with the neck injury. How far do they push him? Well, Hassan Haskins coming back from a head injury. Is he even going to play? Do they just give the ball 18 times to Jared Patterson? Maybe. So this is a very rough situation at present. And again, present is 9 o'clock on the West Coast on a Friday morning. We'll need some clarity here. But right now, it looks like Vidal is likely to lead the backfield. Still a little bit to be determined. The Rams situation. The Rams can improve their playoff seeding with the victory. They're in the playoffs regardless, so they don't have to win, but they can improve their seeding. They also played a really bad game last week. And, I think that, and Jeff Mans and I talked about this earlier this week on SiriusXM, I think the Rams need to go out and make a statement here. Sean McVay, the head coach, said, we're playing our guys. Now, that could be for a quarter, half a game, 3 quarters, we just don't know. But the fact is they need to reestablish things because a month ago, the Rams might, according to most, were looking like a favorite in the NFC. Now they're kind of limping into the playoffs, and it's like, So I would anticipate the Rams going for this. That's my take right now. Maybe we'll get different information today. Kyren Williams got an ankle injury. He's been limited at practice, but he is trending toward playing. Not a certainty, but he is trending toward playing. Blake Corum's got an ankle injury. He has not practiced either day this week. Corum's an important part of what they do. We all know that. We've bemoaned that fact a little bit in the fantasy game. But the fact is that Corum is an important part of the offense. And it's unlikely, in my opinion, he plays this week because they're going to want to get him right for the playoffs. That doesn't mean that Kyren Williams gets 22 touches this week, but I think Kyren Williams is getting 15 touches this week. And again, it really depends on how the game flow goes. If the Rams jump out to a big lead and they're up, 21-0 at halftime, well, okay. If they're struggling a little bit, they got to find their groove on offense. Matt Stafford's done his thing, but, it just hasn't really all come together. Jarquez Hunter is probably going to be active. He'll probably be the backup. I know Rivers was last week, but I think Rivers is more of just that third running back because he can play some special teams in that. So probably Hunter gets some looks. That'd be my guess. So we might be looking at Williams and Hunter if we're trying to figure this out. We'll continue to follow the information. But again, as of right now, Corum, I don't think he plays. Furthering information with the Rams, Davante Adams got the hamstring injury. Head coach Sean McVay says, I'm not really anticipating he's playing this week. I don't anticipate Adams playing this week either. In the case of Adams, he's dealing with the hamstring injury that we know about. They would love to get him out there and active, yes. Get him a little bit of reps and some looks here before the playoffs start, but he's been around for a decade. He's likely going to the Hall of Fame. He's had a special season in terms of scoring touchdowns at the goal line. The hamstring has been bothering him for a while, and then he finally hurt it, which caused him to miss game action. I don't anticipate him playing either. So I would expect him to be out this week. And the rest of these guys, Atwell, Mumfield, like it's Puka Nacua and then Colby Parkinson, really? Ugh. Tyler Higbee, by the way, might play, so keep an eye on that. He's been activated. His window's been opened off the IR. He hasn't been activated yet, but his window's been open, so it is possible that Tyler Higbee plays this week. We'll see how that goes. By the way, as you can see there on the screen, I didn't mention this. Let's get into it now real quickly. Have you ever signed up at drafters.com? Now, we've had a lot of partnerships with drafters.com over the last couple of years, so maybe you have signed up with them. If you've never signed up with drafters.com, we have an opportunity for you to sign up and get a bonus match here for the fantasy playoffs. Oh, my hip again. Jeez. $300,000 postseason best ball tournament. So you just draft your team and that's it. You don't have to manage it. You don't have to worry about it. You put your team together. Let's go. Anyone can play in that league, right? Drafters.com/refer/elite. You can sign up. Anyone can sign up, even if you've worked, obviously, with drafters.com before. Get over there and sign up. If you've never logged in and created an account and signed up and deposited money and done all those things with drafters.com, you never actually played over there. Up to $100 of your money will be matched 100% by drafters.com. So if you've never played with drafters.com before, use the promo code ELITE, ELITE, ELITE. You use that promo code, that gets you 100% match up to $100. So you put 100 in, you got 200 to play with. You put 50 in, you get 50 to play with, that kind of thing, right? So check it out. Get signed up. Use the promo code ELITE, drafters.com/refer/elite. Javonte Williams did not practice yesterday. He also didn't practice yesterday was Malik Davis. Now this one, Javonte Williams, they're keeping, he's got the shoulder and neck and they're being slow playing him there. I'm not anticipating him playing this week regardless, to be quite honest. But they said he's probably going to practice and then he didn't. So that's not a good sign. They said Malik Davis is probably going to practice with his calf issue. He didn't practice either. So now we're starting to look like Jaden Blue. Yeah, it really actually could happen against the Giants. Remember, the Giants are not a good team. Giants are trying to get the first pick. Let's be honest about it. They're not good against the run at all. Jaden Blue, who we were very high on this offseason over at fantasyguru.com, is he actually going to come through in week 18? Starting to kind of look that way. So, if you are playing seasonal in week 18, I don't know if you make this move. Like if you're in the finals, you're in a 2-week final, your finals are week 18. Like I'm not really sure how you would go this direction. I think it's more of a DFS direction that we have to be very highly considering. And again, Jeff Mann's article comes out, Cash Game Breakdown, which is not always directly Cash Game. You've been around this year. We have all that coverage. We have the live stream on Sunday for DFS. We have the live stream Friday night tonight for DFS. So that'll be discussed as heavily, but we'll see what happens today. But it's possible that a guy that we were high on, who was a huge miss this year, might actually come through in week 18. We'll see. A couple of quarterbacks to talk about. Big name quarterbacks, MVP quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson said that he will play in week 18. As we discussed here on this show, yeah, you better, bro, or your career outlook is going in the toilet. I don't know what's going on. We've talked about this. I'm not sure. I know Lamar's beat up. I know everyone's beat up. I know leaders lead. I'm not really sure he's a leader. He's the quarterback. I'm not really sure how much of a leader he is. Maybe I'm being unfair, but that's just the read of the situation that I'm getting. Doesn't practice, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Bottom line is he said he's going to play, and he claimed he feels great right now. Well, if he feels great right now, how come he couldn't play 4 days ago? Okay, anyway, I'll back off. Bottom line is Jackson is going to play this week as expected with the season on the line against the Packers. Now, the question obviously becomes, what do we do with Lamar Jackson if he is indeed active? And again, I expect him to be. If you look at the Steelers have got a very good defense. They're expected to get back TJ Watt, which obviously is a huge piece of what they want to do and what they do defensively. Over the last 6 weeks, the Steelers have allowed the 9th most points to the quarterback. Okay, that includes 13 touchdowns in 6 games, 2 of them on the ground. So there's been some success here by the quarterback against the Steelers here of late. Lamar Jackson has been really, really bad this season. You can't, though, because of the style of game he plays. This is not Brock Purdy, Cam Ward, CJ Stroud sitting in the pocket. Even with all the issues here, Lamar knows it. The team knows it. This is not, week 3 against the Jets. This is, we're playing the Steelers and we either win and make the playoffs or we're done. It's on, right? So I'm anticipating Lamar being more active or as active as he can be with his back issue, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong and he's a pocket passer. And if that's the case, we're all in trouble. But I would anticipate him being aggressive and trying to make plays. We'll see, but that's my anticipation. As a result, he's not a top 5 quarterback for me, but he's a top 10 quarterback. He just has to be. I know he's running 6 times for 22 yards this year or whatever the hell it is. He's not doing much at all on the ground. I know that. But that potential is still there. The Steelers defense is a little bit beat up. We just discussed that. Lamar Jackson should start. He's a top 10 quarterback. I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good. Doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy. But I think you got to do it. David said, Ray, Happy New Year and ice the hip. It's a nerve thing. It's not I don't know. Like right now I'm okay. Twice it's happened and it's been like a shooting, radiating pain in my hip. Not that anyone cares. But it's a nerve pain. I've never had nerve pains. That's one thing I've been fortunate not to have in my life. But I've had a lot of other issues. So I don't know what that is. I don't know. Maybe I slept on it wrong 2 days ago or something. I don't know. But I appreciate the support, David. The next quarterback to talk about is Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen is a leader. Josh Allen has been playing through an injury. And he said he was fine. The team says he's okay, all that kind of stuff. But his foot's not right. You saw it last week. He didn't have the same oomph. Part of that was probably because the field was wet, all that kind of stuff. And we'll see how it plays out this week. He was not seen practicing yesterday. Now, the Bills are in the playoffs. They can change their seeding, but they're in the playoffs. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know if they're going to win anyway, but they're not going to win the Super Bowl with Mitch Trubisky as their quarterback. They know that. Maybe Josh Allen doesn't play just because, right? This is a totally different scenario than they got to win in Baltimore, so they're playing Lamar Jackson. Mitch Trubisky would be the quarterback against the Jets. Much like the Jaden Blue thing we discussed earlier, if Trubisky is active, that's a DFS play. That's not, hey, we're pivoting to. Unless we're in a 2 QB Superflex league, then it's not a bad matchup. And Mitch Trubisky's a very solid backup quarterback. Now, the real issue, of course, has been the fact that this offense has been really stagnant through the air. There's no number one. Their number one guy is Shakir, but he's not a number one wide receiver. Their tight ends are in and out of the lineup. They're constantly rotating their wide receivers. Like, that's another team that I've said it here on the show. They really need to fix this and establish this before the playoff starts. And it just doesn't look like they're going to do it, especially if Mitch Trubisky's under center. But we'll watch that news story today. Trubisky, top half quarterback, like 15-ish, something like that, 14-ish. If we're going that direction. Some wide receivers with the Bears. Luther Burden, who has the quad issue that was obviously a huge concern at the end of the game, helped off the field the whole thing last week. He practiced yesterday in full. So everyone take a deep breath. Sigh of relief. All right, sigh of relief. Luther Burden's going to play. And doesn't seem that Rome Odunze is going to play. Now, Rome Odunze's got the foot. Didn't practice on Thursday. When Odunze got hurt, we heard something to the effect of he'll play this year. He'll play again this year. It was something like that, right? They're in the playoffs, the Bears. They want to get their guy healthy, much like I think the Rams with Davante Adams. So I do think that Odunze, who hasn't played since November, is very likely to not play this week. Don't forget, Luther Burden had 8 catches for 138 yards and a touchdown just a couple days ago. He will once again be the number one wide receiving option for the Bears, if indeed he does suit up. As expected, they play the Lions. That's a matchup that's as old as time, right? The Lions don't figure to be held off the scoreboard all game. The Bears are going to have to push a little bit. Luther Burden is an intriguing option this week, especially with Rome Odunze likely to miss the game. Tanner McKee's going to start for the Eagles. We'll talk to to Russell Clay here in a few minutes, maybe 10 or so minutes, about Clayton Tune and Tanner McKee. Does either one of them matter? But McKee's going to start for the Eagles against the Commanders. Eagles basically saying, hey, we're in the playoffs. We're good. They're going to rest everybody. I think the real question here is, Saquon Barkley, Tootin, right? That's the real question, because at this point in time, if Hurts is out, which he is, got to anticipate Brown and Smith being out, Goedert being limited. Does Barkley even play? Remember, Jeff Mans brought this up earlier this week on SiriusXM. He brought it up earlier this week, and he said, remember, the Eagles sat Saquon when he was 2,000 rushing yards. Like, are they going to put – he may not even play this week. So this might be a scenario where fire up Tootin, and he's going to town, because Tootin's been very effective this year on a limited work, but very effective this year. He's actually been more effective as a runner than Saquon Barkley has. But that whole scenario there, yeah. Danny Raymond says, Happy New Year, Ray. Happy New Year, Danny. Caught your elite show on Tuesday. I was on with Jeff on Tuesday this week because there was no show Wednesday. And I'm going to try to adopt your idea for 2-week championships, the week 17 and 18 for the top two teams. Great idea and suggestion. Well, thank you, Danny. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a suggestion I've made for a long time, and I think it makes a lot of sense. A lot of other people don't. I don't. I mean, people say, oh, there's so many guys resting and so many guys hurt. Well, manage your team. You're in the championship. You shouldn't be in the championship because you plugged and played the same lineup all week. All season, every single week, because no one got hurt on your team. Like, if you need to manage to win, right? So maybe you got to decide between Tanner McKee and Mitch Trubisky if it plays out that way. A winner chooses correctly, right? And that's why we're here at fantasyguru.com. Remember, click the subscribe tab, top right corner. Send an email to support@fantasyguru.com. That's why we're here to help you do that. But yeah, I appreciate that, Danny, and hopefully you can convince your league mates to do it. It's only 2 teams anyway. Get a chance to remove some of the uncertainty from a 1-week scenario where we see it all the time. Guys get hurt. Guys have a bagel out of nowhere. Josh Jacobs, those kind of stuff, right? Play 2 weeks. Give yourself a chance if you made it to the finals. JJ McCarthy of the Vikings was practicing yesterday in full. Practicing on full on a Thursday almost makes it certain he practices on full on Friday and makes it almost certain he plays this weekend. So it does appear that JJ McCarthy is going to return to action with that hand injury. The Vikings, obviously, they got to get Justin Jefferson his 1,000 yards. By the way, there's a Coffin Corner piece with the numbers to know over at fantasyguru.com. Check that out. My matchup article also is up. That went up yesterday over at fantasyguru.com. So JJ McCarthy is very likely to play, but the backfield's not likely to be fully loaded. Aaron Jones got a hip injury. 2 days in a row he hasn't practiced. He's a veteran. He could still play without practicing, no problem. Their season's over. They're not making the playoffs. He's under contract for 1 more year, Aaron Jones. He's in his 30s now. I think he's 31. 6, 7. Does he play? Jordan Mason's got an ankle injury, but Jordan Mason was a full participant in practice yesterday. So it's looking like he's good to go this week. So maybe it's just Jordan Mason and Scott this week, or Jordan Mason and Chandler this week. But Aaron Jones, looking dicey for him to be active this week for that Vikings team, with JJ McCarthy likely to be under center. Wan'Dale Robinson. This is like, I haven't heard many people talking about this. We discussed here on this show, I believe it was on this show, that Wan'Dale Robinson is 8 receptions away from a 100-catch, 1,000-yard season, which is wow, right? Yeah, it was this show, right? And said I think they'd really like to get Wan'Dale Robinson those 8 catches. Maybe that'll still happen. But he does have a rib injury that we were aware of after the game, the last game in week 17 for the Giants. He's a veteran. Maybe they're managing him. Same time, he has not practiced 2 consecutive days. This is, again, why it's really important to wait till Friday to make any lineup decisions, at least, because we're still getting all this. But the last 2 days, Wan'Dale Robinson hasn't practiced. Yeah. So, this is a scenario where Jackson Dart's going to look to finish strong against the Cowboys. Cowboys defense can be beat through the air. They've given up the most points to the quarterback position over the last 6 weeks. They're an eminently beatable team through the air. Dart really needs Wan'Dale Robinson out there. If it's not Wan'Dale Robinson, goodness gracious. But we'll see. Keep an eye on that. That's a guy that Wan'Dale Robinson's really important to his team, and obviously somebody who's utilized a lot in the fantasy space. Ricky Pearsall of the Niners, as we continue to talk wide receivers, in a better spot right now than Wan'Dale Robinson. He's been listed as questionable to play, but he's had 3 limited practices this week, so he's going to play. The Niners face the Seahawks. The winner there in that game not only wins the NFC West, they end up as the number 1 seed in the NFC. So you got to figure both the Niners and Seattle are going to try to win that football game. Ricky Pearsall caught 5 balls for 85 yards last week. He's a wide receiver 3, bottom end wide receiver 3. Remember, Seattle's a good defense. Pearsall has been in games this year where he's completely been vanishing. He's a vanishing act. He's the invisible man. He's not even on the field. I mean, he's on the field, but is he on the field? We don't know. So cautious with him, but he is trending toward playing. George Kittle said, I'm playing this week. The good news is he's been listed as questionable to play against the Seahawks. Remember, the winner of this game gets the number 1 seed in the NFC. It's an important game. Brock Purdy's been playing really good football since he returned from injury. Shanahan's calling great plays. Having the Niners actually have their whole offense, which has been, having Pearsall and Kittle and Purdy on the field at the same time, it's really been a challenge for them. There's a back issue that CMC has been dealing with. Seems like he's okay. They say he's going to be fine. He's going to play and all that. But remember, he's dealing with that. So, if the Niners fall behind early in this game, how far do they push things? We'll see. Again, the division and the conference is up for grabs, so they're probably going to give it a good go. A couple of Dolphins to talk about. We'll visit with Russell Clay here in a few minutes. Jaylen Waddle, ribs, was limited on Thursday. He injured his ribs, obviously, over the weekend, played a handful of snaps in that game. He's trending toward playing this week against the Patriots. Nothing to play for and all that, but do you want to go into the playoffs having played, was it 7 or 13 snaps he played? It was one of the two. I can't remember. But it's like, same time, he could get shut down because there's nothing to. So this is a situation we need more information on with Waddle. If he's not out there, can they pass the ball? Davante Achane's got a shoulder injury. He has not practiced each of the last 2 days. Probably going to play this week. Achane is in a zone where he's also a veteran. It's been a long year. He's been beat up. He's getting 20 touches each week. He doesn't have to practice early in the week to play on the weekend. Would love to see him out there today. So follow the Miami reports for both Waddle and Achane, 2 really important pieces to this Dolphins offense to give them any chance of really successfully moving the ball. And Achane has really been as consistent as almost any running back in football. In fact, he's got a streak going, a scrimmage yard streak going. Read the article, Coffin Corner, over at fantasyguru.com that went up this morning for more information on that. Clayton Tune will be the quarterback for the Packers. We'll talk to Russell Clay about that in a few minutes. Speaking of the Packers, Josh Jacobs, this one, I'm not anticipating Josh Jacobs playing. Now, he's got a rib or ankle, knee issue, Josh Jacobs. He only played, 13, 15 snaps last week. He actually played less snaps than Wilson and Brooks. At this point in time, with the Packers already saying they're not starting either Love or Willis, it's going to be Tune under center. I'm thinking that Jacobs doesn't play, that they rest him to get him healthy for the playoffs. Now, the problem that we run into, we'll just go Emmanuel Wilson. Well, yeah, but Emmanuel Wilson is not 100%. Emmanuel Wilson's a little bit beat up too. Could it be Chris Brooks? Maybe they protect both, because you go into the playoffs with your number 1 guy and arguably most important offensive player, Josh Jacobs, beat up. If Josh Jacobs goes down in the playoffs, you got to have your backup running back ready to go, as Wilson has been multiple times this year when Jacobs has faltered a little bit. Maybe both Jacobs and Wilson do or don't play. Maybe they're both limited even if they do play. Maybe it's a lot of Chris Brooks. So I'd love to get some clarity on this situation today. We'll see if that happens with the Packers. Obviously, not everyone shares this information in public. Hopefully we'll get that information. A couple other storylines before we talk to Russell Clay. Officially, Marcus Mariota has been ruled out with the quad injury. We knew that was going to be the case. Dalton Kincaid, who we'll actually talk about here in a few minutes here with Russ. Limited at practice on Friday. I think he was limited yesterday with that knee injury. He's surprised and active, trending toward playing, but we discussed the Bill situation earlier, so we'll see. This is just, here we go. We got an update here. The update is that Josh Allen is good to go for Week 18 against the Jets. How long does he play? Open-ended question, but according to Sean McDermott, he will quarterback the Bills to start the game at least this week. Jaylen Waddle is questionable for Week 18. So he's trending toward playing, toward returning to the field. Davante Achane did not practice today, so that is 3 consecutive DNPs for Achane. That's not good. Dolphins can't make the playoffs. That's 3 games in a row. Could Achane still play this week? Yes, but given that 3rd DNP this week, Achane's unlikely to play this week. Jaylen Wright would be the guy that we would pivot to. Ollie Gordon obviously would see some touches too. Jaylen Wright being the guy. But as we sit here at 9:30 on the West Coast, Achane looking very dubious to play in Week 18. And finally, my man, Darren Waller, did exactly what I said he would do. He got hurt. I said all along I wasn't interested, didn't care. He got hurt, came back from this injury, got hurt again. He's now been placed on the injured reserve list. Great story for 3 weeks, but fool's gold as it was all along. Darren Waller placed on the IR, meaning Greg Dulcich will once again likely be the leading tight end and maybe even the leading pass catcher for the Dolphins this week. I'm Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. I'm on here on this show Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Wednesdays. It's Justin Fensterman. We have guests throughout the week, Tuesday through Friday. And on Fridays, it's Russell Clay who normally joins us. You know Russ. He's with us every Friday. He does college football. He does Dynasty. He's our Dynasty guy over at FantasyGuru.com. Does seasonal football. He often hosts the live stream on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And he's just a good old-fashioned nice fella. So let's bring him into the show. He is Russell Clay of FantasyGuru.com. Russ, how you doing?
Oh, swell. Actually, I woke up with a little crick in the neck, Ray. But
did you sleep oddly, or
I think we might have slept a few degrees to the right or a few degrees to the left, and it's gonna be we got to do our stretches, Ray. We gotta get this out. Much like Josh Allen has got to get it out before Sunday, right?
Yeah, I was talking about it earlier. I don't know if you saw it. I have a hip issue that I'm dealing with, and I don't know what the hell. The last 2 days, I've had shooting intense pain in my hip for about 30 seconds both times. Some kind of nerve thing. Never in my life have I ever had this before. So maybe I slept on it wrong too, because I was walking the dog. I didn't do anything fancy.
So we both got added to the injury report.
We did.
Yeah.
I'm planning on playing through it. I don't know. It sounds like you'll be able to. I don't know about Achane and some of these other guys.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of this Week 18 stuff. And I'll start with a very simple question for you, because I know there's a lot of back and forth, and there always has been. Should teams play their guys in Week 18 if they're out of the playoffs? Should they play guys in Week 18 if they're in the playoffs? That kind of thing. Let's just remove that question and specifically focus on this. Do you think teams really care? I mean, it seems like they should. But do they really care about playoff seeding? Like, if you can change who you're playing in the playoffs and you think you have a better matchup, don't you go for it? 'Cause it seems like some teams are just going, we're in the dance. That's all that matters.
Well, I do know that the Chargers are sitting all their starters, and they basically said, we want no part of playing the Jaguars again, right? Okay. So there's so much of that going on. There's also so much in terms of incentives, organizational stuff. There's so much going on this week that there's probably good betting opportunities. I'm sure Tyler Beaker's already been in the library looking up all these guys' contracts and everything and doing all that in the betting Discord, Jeff Mans as well. But in terms of this week, it is just a weird week, Ray. We know this. It used to be week 17. That was the weird week. Now it's week 18. And so many of these guys have podcasts now that you hear so much behind the scenes. Like, I hated this coach this year. We were trying to play it out for this coach this year. This quarterback had no control of the locker room. So we can kind of get a vibe watching these games. But some of it's also guesswork of, okay, you mentioned Jaylen Waddle, right? Quinn Ewers, he's going to be playing his ass off. Right. This is I'm not going to say this is for Quinn Ewers' job, but I mean, he has a lot of stakes right now playing this out for next year, seeing maybe they don't bring someone in, right? Maybe they go with Quinn if he plays out this last month really well. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of fun storylines for Dynasty too, but it's chaos.
Do you think, I don't know if I asked you this last week or not. I apologize if I did. Everything runs together. I'm old. Should the NFL go away from playoffs? I mean, seeding, record-wise, determining draft picks. Should it go to a lottery scenario? Did I ask you this last week? Because I mean, the Raiders 2 weeks ago gave up. They just said, "Oh, we're going." They just gave up. That's horrible for the sport. It's horrible for the fans. It's horrible for media. It's horrible for everyone, and they just did it. Should the NFL consider, like other sports do, go into a lottery?
I would actually compare this to bowl season about a decade ago, and it was with a guy who didn't end up being that important, maybe because of this bowl game. But Jake Butt, a former Michigan tight end, was supposed to be a first round pick, gets a major injury in the bowls, and then the next 5 to 7 years, everyone starts opting out, and these bowls are third stringers.
All right.
And now we're at the point, Ray, where they don't even have bowl games anymore, really. And they've kind of gone away from it. I feel like some of these games just don't need to be played personally. I don't know what we do, but like you said, we saw old Pete Carroll last week. Now they're calling up Cam Miller and giving some of the young guys opportunities, but yeah, I 100% agree with you. I don't know what the answer is. I know it's not more games, but they already did that for us. So yeah, it's a weird one. What do you have a good solution for this?
No, but they've got to do something, because these teams are billion-dollar entities, right? The teams are billion-dollar. The league generates billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars a year. You can't have teams just not caring. You can't. It's just not. It's terrible for the sport. And we see this in baseball where people complain all the time because the Dodgers are spending $350 million and the Marlins are spending 50, right? Like you can't have that. You disillusion fans. Like I said, the media start. Hey, we paid you guys $3 billion for rights, and now we got some third string quarter. They got to figure it out. I think the easy way would be to go to the lottery. I don't love that. Balls in a spinner, and I think it's dumb, but got to do something. Hopefully the league will. I don't know if they will. They'll probably just play more games in Denmark and in Spain. Don't forget, by the way, you can go to fantasyguru.com. You see it on the screen right now. If you sign up for any of the gift cards, which you can get for yourself, we're not going to judge. You can get it for yourself, or you can get them to give to somebody else. Every gift card you get free bucks. So you buy a $25 card, we give you $10. You buy a $50 card, we give you $15. You buy a $100 card, we'll give you $25. You spend $200 on gift cards, we'll give you $50 free. Look at that. You can basically buy everything you want here at the site. Go to fantasyguru.com, click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. Let's talk some keys to victory this week, Russ. We've got a game between the Ravens and the Steelers. The winner's in, the loser's out. This is what the league wants, right? In and out, and Lamar Jackson's going to play because he has to for his legacy. We know that the Steelers are going to be without DK Metcalf. We saw what that did to the offense last week for them. What's the key for both of these teams in this matchup between the Ravens and Steelers? Is there something that pops to you that stands out and you're saying, this is the matchup I'm looking at? This is the most important thing in this game?
Well, for this Ravens team, it's been Derrick Henry. And he's been back to his old self, which is shocking at age 32, but he's been destroying defenses the last month. Obviously last week was great, but I don't think Lamar's healthy, and he hasn't really looked healthy all year. So I'd watch that Steelers defensive line versus Henry as the key to victory here for both sides. If they can contain Henry, I don't know that Lamar can do his normal Lamar stuff. And the Steelers are home underdogs right now. So I don't know, and of course, like every week, we have Arthur Smith on the other side being an absolute goofball. He doesn't have Darnell Washington, but he's got, who knows, maybe he'll pick up some guy off the street. Maybe he'll try to snag Taysom Hill.
Delaney Walker.
Yeah. Pick up some random guy and give him 40 snaps this week. So that's always the storyline there for me with the Steelers.
Yeah, it was funny. I was telling the story earlier this week too about Derrick Henry in that Jeff Mann's home league that I'm in, that you helped put the team together this year because I was unavailable. Derrick Henry goes nuts. He had like 49 points, like just absolutely league winning, week winning, all this kind of stuff. And then I had Teddy McMillan and Josh Jacobs go for 2. So I went from getting 49 points from one guy to all of them averaging 17. Isn't that amazing how that works sometimes? It's like you feel like, because I've seen some people with that we've seen in Discord, they beat teams with Derrick Henry. It's still possible. Like, it's the full team that matters, not just one guy.
Oh, it's a full team. And the problem you fall into, you have that early in the week. You're already counting the money. And then it slowly chips away at you like life, Ray, like life. And then
neck and hip. Yeah.
and then you're looking at it and you say, wait a second. This guy's got 5 guys with 20 points. I'm in trouble right now. And there you go. So yeah, that was a big theme of the last couple weeks, actually.
Yeah, the team still won last week, luckily. Beat Jeff Manzi. Take it, Jeff. But yeah, that was a rough one. It should have been an easier victory than it was. Yeah. What about the Panthers and Bucs? Same scenario. The winner's in, the loser's out, playing for the division here. Is there a key to this one? Both these teams, I mean, the Bucs started out hot and then toileted, and they just haven't looked good for a while now. The Panthers started slow, found their groove, then they hit a rough patch here. And I think people have been reminded the last couple of weeks, despite the improvement from Bryce Young compared to last year, that's still 54 yards. Panthers, Bucs, what are you looking at here as a key?
The key is take care of your Panthers. If you have Panthers fans in your life, reach out to them, say what's up, what's going on, guys, how we doing this week? This has been a really rough couple weeks here. They should have won this division 3 weeks ago, and they can just not do it. They can't make it that easy. Easily the funniest way for this to play out is for the Buccaneers to win and then the Falcons to win, and the tiebreaker goes to the Panthers. So that's kind of what I'm watching for. So if the Falcons beat the Saints, then we have a 3-way tie at 8-9, which, Ray, I don't know about you. I can't think of a better way for the 2026 NFC South to end off than 3 8-9 teams just not deserving at all. So that's what I want. In that game, it's all about Bryce. Can Bryce show up? You know, he's in his 3rd season. He made some strides this year, but also looks like old Bryce sometimes. Can he bring it home here against this pretty terrible Buccaneers team? They're just way worse than last year, but can Mike Evans and Baker figure it out? Yeah. So it's going to be a shit show, but kind of the shit show we all want to watch.
Like, I know, again, being a heightist or whatever, sizeist, like Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I mean, Bryce Young, it's like, these are normal sized people. These are normal sized human beings. They're not normal sized football players, right?
No.
Like, it's so, I mean, Bryce Young looks like a 12-year-old kid out there. He looks so small. But I think when I see him throw the ball, I'm like, he's got a really strong arm, given the fact he has 3% muscle, right? Like, but yeah, he seems like a great guy. Everyone says great things about him. I hope he can figure something out, but he's just at such a deficit physically. It's just how it goes. Russell Clay joins us every Friday at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time here on the show. Got a couple of youngsters, Clayton Tune, Tanner McKee, and youngsters, unproven NFL players. Clayton Tune, Tanner McKee starting this week for the Packers and for the Eagles. Scouting report, anything to see here? Do we just 2 quarterback leagues? Who cares? We're out. Everyone else is sitting too. Tune, McKee, anything, Russ?
I've heard the names Clayton Tune and Tanner McKee a few times in the last 5 years. If you showed me a picture of Tanner McKee and told me it was Clayton Tune, I'd be like, yeah, that's Clayton Tune. So that's where we're at with these fellas. That's all I got, right?
That's all you got? Okay, so that's no.
I think they're tall pocket passers.
Yeah.
Drafted in the middle rounds. And that's what I got. So I don't think we're looking for too much here. Hopefully they can run these offenses, but
who was the Packers quarterback? Yeah. Was it Flynn?
Oh, yeah.
Years ago, they had like 5 touchdowns in week 16 or something, right? Matt Flynn. Is that his name?
Yeah, Matt Flynn.
It can happen.
He made a lot of money from the Seahawks.
He got he got a $30 million contract or something, didn't he?
And then Russell Wilson was like, hey, man, I got it from here. You just take that money and I'll play. And he was like, all right, I'm in.
Matt Flynn. And everyone's like, Matt Flynn, who the hell's Matt Flynn? Matt Flynn, but this is why you need to teach your kids to be athletes. Made $20 million in his career. That's pretty good. So I exaggerated. Obviously, he didn't get $20 million contract.
He might have not gotten that full contract, Ray. I remember it being more too.
Right?
He might have not gotten the full.
Yeah, like
Oh,
I swear it
chunk.
was like a 5-year deal or something crazy he
Like,
signed.
I remember it being like 60 million.
Something,
And then
right? Yeah, we'll have to look
he
that up.
probably didn't get the full thing. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. None of the money's real in the NFL anyway. Russ Clay at fantasyguru.com. What about the Saints, which was one of the teams Matt Finn played for? We heard, unfortunately, that Chris Olave is going to be out. He's had a great season. He's going to be okay. It seems like he's got blood clots, but they're going to, hold him out of game action here and all of that. What are we seeing here? Oh, 3 years, $26 million. That was, I think, the contract. 3 years, $26 million.
Whatever.
Yeah. What are we doing? Are there any Saints we're playing? Because now we're down to Estime and Shuck has played pretty well, but there's now no receivers left. Is it Juwan Johnson only? Like, is there anything to see with the Saints? Because they have been playing very good football here the last month.
This Tyler Shuck and Kellen Moore thing has really evolved over the last month. I'm a huge fan. I do think they're going to build around Shuck in the future, and I do like this coaching staff. So we have the base. And if we've learned anything the last 3 to 5 years, the system is strong now. If you have a good coach, like I watched Ben Johnson this year and I say, this looks so much like those Lions teams and it's totally different players. So, can they have guys come in off the street and play like Chris Olave? No, but some of these guys, it'll probably be fine. You mentioned the tight ends, the running game. Look at the running game. Estime, he got cut. So, yeah, I'm going to keep firing. They have a real good shot to win this just because they have the system and the quarterback.
Henry's in a rough spot, by the way. He's got Olave, who's not playing this week. We just discussed that. He needs to play Terry McLaurin with Josh Johnson, Trey Tucker with 2 quarterbacks, because Smith's not going to play, and we're hearing reports that both Pickett and O'Donnell could see work. DK with Ward, who has actually played much better the last month, Cam Ward, but there's no volume there to per se with DK.
Yeah.
And Henry says I need a floor. Eesh. What's your recommendation here to replace Olave? Terry McLaurin, Trey Tucker, Jamari DK, or Adonai Mitchell if you want to get nuts?
Henry, I don't know if this is the week we can want a floor here. Cam Ward's like Pat Mahomes compared to half
Brady
these
Cook?
guys, right?
Yeah.
Aiden O'Connell and Kenny Pickett's not the worst duo of we're looking at here. Trey Tucker's fine. Oh boy, Henry.
I'm gonna go McLaurin. That'd be my answer, but it's not like, oh yay, that's just my answer.
It's probably McLaurin, but it's close. And if you have to go Tucker or DK, you're not worse off. So yeah, I'm looking at that Trey Tucker thing though. Is he a week 18 guy?
He's the only guy that got left.
He looks like a week 18 guy if I've ever seen one, but yeah, I'll probably go McLaurin.
In another league, Henry's got Sutton, Michael Wilson, and Luther Burden. Only needs 2. These stupid 2 wide receiver leagues. Play 3 wide receiver leagues, Henry. No, none of these guys should be on your bench. We talked about it earlier. Odunze almost certainly will not play this week. Burden was back at full practice yesterday, signifying he will be almost certainly active this week. And then you've got Sutton and Wilson. By the way, everybody, Sutton's a wide receiver 1 this year.
Yeah.
Just he's a wide receiver 1 this year. Michael Wilson, I don't know how you bench Michael Wilson with Marvin Harrison out. We know he's going to get 10 targets this week. So which one of these 3 who shouldn't sit sits for Henry?
Yeah. Yeah. Marv Harrison's like the guy at work who's called out 7 times. He's great, but he comes back in. He's basically been replaced. Just get out of there, Marv. This is not your year, man. Is Michael Wilson a wide receiver 1, like high-end wide receiver 1 without Marv?
Volume says yes. It's got to be Luther Burden that's out, right? And for me, and again, he should be playing.
I don't think you can sit Sutton and Wilson. I don't think you can do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. Russ, let's talk. Russ is our Dynasty guy. He updates the rankings every Wednesday for the Dynasty. How does that go? Just so people know, remind them here moving forward, because the regular season is over. How frequently are we going to be updating things moving forward, Russ?
Yeah, so every week I do update the rankings. There was some talk in the Discord about a late round players to look at some maybe late round sleepers. So next week I might do an article
Nice.
on that. But every week we do update the rankings. I go on TikTok. We have a little powwow. We talk about the latest, and we update the rankings. So every week those rankings are updated. This time of year, it can get a little soggy with some of those dynasty rankings across the planet. So definitely check out those rankings. And if you're on YouTube right now, come hang out. We got a good community. If you're in Dynasty League, it is fun to talk shop more than anything else.
And the TikTok account is Russ?
Russell J. Clay.
There you go. Russell J. Clay. That's him. Russ Clay, Russ J. He goes by many names here. We just know him as the guy who's got answers at fantasyguru.com. Dynasty, tight ends. Dallas Goedert sets a record 11 touchdowns for the Eagles. Big touchdown number. Catches 3 passes for 36 yards every week, but he's getting in the end zone. Where is he at in Dynasty? Not a young guy. Was he 30, 29, 30? He's right there too. Like, is he a hold? Is he a trade? Is he, let's just ride it till the wheels fall off? Like, because when you're not a star tight end, and Goddard's good, but not a star, is there really any benefit to trading these guys? Like, or do you just kind of ride them until they break?
So this is where I've evolved in the last few years. And I'm not trading these guys when they become veterans. Now, Dallas Goedert came into the league really old. He's 31 tomorrow. So he turns 31 tomorrow. Okay. He came into the league at 23. He was 24 in his rookie season. If you have these guys, look at Zach Ertz, Ray. Mm-hmm. Like, if you just held Zach Ertz, you got like 3 or 4 extra seasons. I look at Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey. I don't think trading to get off guys now is the move. I just don't. Now, last gen, I did hold Todd Gurley, and that didn't work out. That ended instantly. I held Le'Veon Bell. That didn't work. But I've kept with this and just said, you know what? I saw Frank Gore play till 35. Yeah. I saw T.O. Yeah. I saw T.O. play till 35. I saw Brandon Marshall till his mid-30s. And this 2017 running back class humbled me, Ray, where it's like, all right, these guys' teams are going to fall off at some point, right? Like Christian McCaffrey's not going to work at some point. Kamara's not going to work at some, and it's like, or it's just going to work for a decade. And these guys are just going to keep winning every year. So if you're a youth guy in Dynasty, don't be afraid to invest in some veterans, and you might get 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, so I think the biggest conversation for next year is, what do we do with McCaffrey? And what do we do with Derrick Henry? Because he's going to be 33 next year. Why would the show stop next year? He looks totally fine, and it's Derrick Henry. So, I mean, you look at Zeke, right? Zeke was done 5 years ago, same draft class. But next year, it's like if he re-ups with Baltimore, I don't know if I care about age with Derrick Henry, right? Like, do we just keep riding it? I don't know.
Russell Clay, fantasyguru.com. This guy is on the team in my Dynasty League, but my Dynasty League is 12 teams, 50 roster spots. That's much different than a lot of these leagues that have like 20, 23 roster spots, right? TJ Hockenson caught 95 passes in 2023. 95. Wow. The last 2 years, he's caught 92. This offense has been disastrous this year. Last year, it was an injury for him. He only played 10 games. This year, the offense has been a mess. But it's been multiple years now. He's still in his 20s, but it's been multiple years now since he was a guy that you could utilize because he's not a touchdown maker. He's got to be catching 4 or 5 passes each week to be usable. You could add him for a song. He might be on the waiver wire in your league, right? I think the real question is, does anything change next year? Is it too early to tell? Do you care? Are you out? Like, where are we at with a guy that should still be effective, but just hasn't been for a couple of seasons now?
He is a guy continue to draft or pick up, like you mentioned, in Dynasty and just hold. And if it's over, it's over. But we know he has 90 catch upside. And the year before that, he was at 80 catches with the Lions. So we know it's there. He's had a lot of injuries,
Mhm.
so that might be he might be in a different phase of his career. But a lot of these guys as they age, there's some years where, say, JJ McCarthy needs that dump off guy next year and they switch the game plan, or he goes to a new team and they need a dump off guy. That 80 to 90 catches at 7 yards, 8 yards a catch is always there for a guy like Hockenson. So, yeah.
What about a guy who in 2023 was a rookie, caught 73 passes in an offense that's got stability in the coaching staff, that's got arguably the best quarterback in football throwing the ball? Dalton Kincaid. What do we got with Dalton Kincaid? He's had even moments this year where he's had big games, but he dealt with injuries last year. He's dealt with injuries again this year. The passing attack has been inconsistent. I was making words up. Inconsistent. He's only played 3 years, and it feels like there's a real need for him to really be a part of this offense. But even when he plays, as you're aware, Russ, he plays 26 snaps. Like he doesn't play. He plays only on passing downs. Dalton Kincaid, where is he at for you in a dynasty perspective?
In theory, I like Dalton Kincaid.
Right.
I haven't liked what's happened. So in theory, and we see in theory twice this year, he's had, the featured games twice. He's at 100 yards. It's like, okay, here we are. And then we have other games where this random guy, I'm almost sure he's a creative player named Jackson Hawes. Jackson Hawes. That's not a real guy. Shout out to Jackson Hawes. You're a great man. Dawson Knox, like they're just going to find those guys with that same name cadence.
There you go.
There's 7 guys like that. So we all know what the Bills do. I don't know if they want to feature anyone. The only guy they really wanted to feature was Keon, but he doesn't really want to be featured. So I think it's just more of this. I mean, I like Kincaid. He's clearly a good talent, was a first-round pick, but it's tough to get too excited.
Ken Coleman, for those people that aren't keeping track at home, gone from the guy that was going to save the offense last year to a guy who's a healthy scratch this year.
Yeah.
Yikes. Final tight end, second-round pick in 2023. 6'4", 250, athletic, that prototypical bouncy, springy, pass-catching kind of guy. With your main man, Brenton Strange. This season was really uneven this year because of injury. Missed a large chunk of games because of that. There have been moments where he's been great. There's been moments where he's been good. The offense clearly moving in the right direction. They do have a bunch of pass catchers, though. So where are we at with Brenton Strange?
He's really important to that offense. Now, is it always fantasy relevant? No, but Brenton Strange, a really, really important part of that offense, especially in play action. He is a piece they need. And we saw that, a big theme in that losing streak was they did not have those underneath weapons. Then they traded for Jacoby Myers and got Strange back. They are, let me count it. In games he's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're 10-1 in games Brenton Strange has played. And I don't think that's a pure coincidence. Fantasy wise, he's got 500 yards in 11 games, probably would have been 7, 8 had he played this whole season out. So I really like him. He is a huge part of that team. And yeah, nothing but good things to say about Brenton.
Russell Clay, fantasyguru.com. Joins us every Friday at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. We've come to the end of the show, Russ. Not the end of the season. That's still going. As we talked about earlier, click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. Get signed up for all of our football coverage throughout the playoffs for $29.99. The only thing you don't get is a Super Bowl betting guide. You can talk to Russ about your Dynasty team in Discord. Get access to live streams, to articles, to rankings for betting, seasonal, and DFS. What does Russ Clay's weekend look like? What do we got here? We hardly have any college football left anymore, Russ. You mentioned looking forward ahead to next week, maybe doing an article or two on the Dynasty scenario. What's shaking for you here in the next week or so?
We've been we've got a little more time these days, but in terms of fantasy football, it is a fun time of year. I've been seeing a lot of people talking about winning their leagues, so that's been a fun part of the Discord this week. But yeah, mostly watching these games, getting ready. You know what I've been doing is getting ready for that drafters playoff. Trying to figure out ways to get people in the know of our little promo code there. It's actually not a little promo. It's a big promo there. So go check that out. In terms of my weekend though, pretty relaxed, Ray. We grinded for almost 4 months straight. Well, actually, we pretty much grinded 6 months straight between prepping for the season and getting ready. So this next couple weeks is going to be relaxing. And my favorite time of the year is NFL playoffs. It's super high quality football, and the fantasy in the playoffs is awesome. So fun time of year.
And as you can see there on the screen, what Russ is talking about, use that promo code ELITE, 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 over at drafters.com. You get signed up there. Go to drafters.com/refer/elite, drafters.com/refer/elite. Use the promo code ELITE. You get a 100% match up to $100 if you've never signed up for a product over at drafters.com. Even if you signed up over at drafters.com, sign up for the fantasy tournament here. It's a best ball tournament in the playoffs, $300K. It's a lot of money. And it's a best ball. I know Tyler does a ton of them. You do a ton of them. Armando does them. Do you like that best ball idea for the playoffs?
It is a totally different setup because you are mostly trying to project wins for teams and who's advancing. So it's much different than regular season football. And, I had one league where, back in when the Falcons made their run. It doesn't go like that every year, but I did draft a ton of the Julio, Ryan, Tevin Coleman on their playoff run. And I've been chasing that ever since, right? It hasn't worked out that well ever since, but it's funny how that 1 year will keep you coming back, right?
Absolutely. And hopefully you'll be back with us on Monday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It'll be me reviewing all the game action from the weekend, which is all the games this week. We'll go game by game, team by team, kind of rip through what's going on. Then we'll return to our normally scheduled program of guests Tuesday through Friday. We will start to sprinkle in baseball next week, including some pack openings, some pack breaks. I got a box of Topps Chrome for the holidays. Yeah, Russ. So I think we're going to start opening those next week just to keep it fun and exciting here on the show. And we'll talk to you a week from now on Friday. We'll probably be talking some playoff football with you. Maybe we'll be talking a little bit about that drafters contest.
Love it. Sounds good, Ray.
You got it. He's Russell Clay. I'm Ray Flowers. Head over to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio right now. Well, actually, in about an hour. For the Elite Sports Show, it's 2 to 5, Monday through Friday with Jeff Manns. And stay tuned again for this show, Fantasy Sports Daily, Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Happy New Year's. Have a great weekend. For Russ, I'm Ray. Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by the one and only Fantasy Guru.